Now, corruption was Bosasa's way of doing business. Now, that's according to Part 3 of the state capture report. It implicates top ANC members. The report says Bosasa was awarded government contracts worth at least 2.37 billion rand. That's between the years 2000 and 2016. Politicians also benefited from this business with Bosasa. It's estimated that the company paid at least 75.7 million rand in bribes in the 16 years. Reporter Heidi Giokos is tracking the paper trail of the alleged bribes and the money that left Bosasa's coffers and ended up in the pockets of government officials. Heidi, good morning. Actually, it's good afternoon already.
Yes, it feels like it's 20 days later from this report.
I can imagine just combing through that report. Talk to me about those bribes. I mean, that is a lot of money. In 16 years, they've paid over 75 million to individuals, and they surely understood that when we pay, we sustain this business of ours.
Yes, exactly. And I know we mentioned yesterday that the modus operandi of Bosasa was bribes, but it's important to re-look at that and exactly how Bosasa managed to bribe key individuals, not only within the ANC, but people within key state-owned entities. So we do understand that the business model of Bosasa focused a lot on bribes. So what they would do, they would identify certain individuals, they would identify certain individuals that perhaps had serious political influence. And what's interesting here is it's not just only Gwede Mantashe that was highlighted, but he was highlighted as one of the individuals that were easy to influence, that were easy to bribe, that could possibly open up doors to say, well, if we can bribe Gwede Mantashe, we can maybe get our hands into other key state-owned entities. However, we do know that Gwede Mantashe has said that he's taking
that report on judicial review.
Yes, on judicial review, and he, of course, does not agree with what's come out of this particular part of the state capture report. So it's important to highlight his response to this. But what we are finding is that you are seeing a situation where this happened over a lengthy period of time, and it wasn't only just money that was paid over or used as bribes, but it was also, let's find another way to bribe these particular individuals. Let's find another way to get our hands into these state-owned entities and to cement ourselves into the ANC so that we can get access to these tenders. It was paying for security upgrades to certain people's houses. It was paying for birthday parties, which of course Nomvula Mokonyane is saying that didn't actually happen. She would have remembered if that happened. Also finding a way to pay for gifts, travel and accommodation, buying cars, building houses, buying furniture for these houses. So Bosasa's model was to try and find a way to bribe these individuals, but not just with money or stuffed Louis Vuitton bags with over 300,000 rand is what we saw with Dudu Myeni, but they tried to find a way to persuade and influence these politicians in other kinds of ways by saying, well, we'll upgrade the security to your house, you don't have to worry about it. And what's important here is that the state capture report is finding that the evidence presented by Angelo Grizzi is very clear. As much as they were hoping to get more information and evidence presented to them from other individuals, it seems as though a lot of what was presented by Angelo Grizzi can corroborate with what the state capture report has been able to find.
You know, I wonder if this has not influenced the current climate around donations for political parties, because there's a lot of apprehension now from most business people to actually donate, given what has transpired or been unearthed about Bosasa and the donations to the African National Congress. And then now we see that the likes of the ANC are in fact in dire straits insofar as their finances are concerned, where there are not many people that want to donate purely out of fear that if we're going to donate, we might be scrutinized. And then it's stated that perhaps we want something in return. So I think it has created an environment now of apprehension for most businesses, because even in that press conference, I was hearing now they're mentioning the Batu Trust. There was that questions about Batu and Shell, and whether Shell was donating to the ANC because they wanted them to somehow smooth operations for them to enter the space of exploration and development here in the country. But it seems all of this now, we're not going to see many people donating to political parties, like Gwede Mantashe says, because of what has happened with Bosasa.
Yes, I think there's a huge pushback, and to say we actually don't want to be associated with this because we could be called later on to say, why were you involved in the ANC? Why did you donate to the ANC? What kind of links do you have? Do you have influence like Bosasa had? I mean, Mfundo, if you look at that report, it's over 1,000 pages and it only focuses on Bosasa. And that shows you that Bosasa was central to capturing the state, was central in paying these bribes, was central in being awarded tenders. How does a company like Bosasa get awarded a tender to provide security to a parking lot at Airports Company South Africa at OR Tambo International Airport? How does Bosasa get that tender? How does Bosasa get the tender to cater to events at the Department of Correctional Services? How does Bosasa get a tender to develop these youth centres in the Northwest? So all these questions are being raised, and it points back to your point to say the ANC is in dire financial strength. What is going to happen there? You have companies saying, we don't actually want to be involved or donate to the political party because of what happened with Bosasa, and we'll rather not have our hands get dirty or get involved in this kind of activity. So that's what you're seeing through the state capture reports, is to say they were heavily involved in this. The ANC knew about it. You had ANC officials that are still within the ANC and had high ANC positions, yet they didn't say much. They just watched and allowed this to go on.